So here, guys, reproductive stuff again. This is part 4, which is going to be the female. And here we'll do a little female thing, which that is basically supposed to be an example of the uterus and the fallopian tubes and the ovaries and stuff. Now, remember we talked about gonads. Gonads are the primary sex organs of both male and female, and in this case, the gonads are called ovaries. Ovaries are paired organs. They're glands that are on the inside of the pelvis, the pelvic compartment or pelvic cavity, and they're about the size of what's called an unshelled almond. So you know, an almond is about I guess yay big, and so an unshelled almond is a little bit bigger, so they're about the size of your thumb, perhaps, or something like that. Let's erase that. We'll need that for later. The ovaries produce ova or ovum, which are eggs, and also hormones, which is estrogen. And progesterone, actually. So the size of an unshelled pelvic cavity, each side of the uterus held in. Okay, there's 3 ligaments we got to tag. There's what's called the suspensory ligament. There's going to be the ovarian ligament, whatever, and there's going to be the broad ligament. Okay, those 3 ligaments. So the number 1, each of these the ovaries are held in position by the suspensory ligament. The ovarian ligaments this holds it on the outside, this holds it on the inside, the medial side. So you have like where can I put this? You have your uterus, and you have your ovaries, and then you have your fallopian tubes. Let's look at this. Okay, so your ovarian ligament, hold it here. Suspensory ligament, hold it here, and the broad ligament holds it all together. Okay, that's basically what happens. Now, on the outside of the ovary itself is what's called germinal epithelium, and that's where the egg and the little cyst that it makes is made and kept, and then it eventually pops off, and you send out an egg towards the fallopian tubes and in the tubes and all that kind of stuff. The primary follicle, so it's called, remember we talked about spermatocytes. These are called oocytes. Okay, whenever you see oo, that means egg. The primary oocyte, we have a primary follicle. Okay, I'll just put here, go like this. So I do P, primary follicle. From the primary follicle, we get the secondary follicle, and then we get what's called a graphian. Your A-F-F-I-A-N, graphian follicle. Okay, and that's where mature eggs come from, and that's what makes estrogen, which starts some of your menstrual process and all that kind of stuff, the menstrual cycle. Now, when the egg leaves the germinal layer, it's what's called a corpus luteum. Okay, it pops off. When the egg disappears it's popped out, it's called a corpus luteum, and then it makes which means a body with a hole. And a corpus luteum, a hole, like with a light. You can see in it, like a little bit of light, I guess it is. Then that makes progesterone, and it becomes what's called the corpus albicans, which means the white body. So corpus luteum to corpus albicans. Okay, so egg is produced through this whole cycle, which we'll get into later. I guess we get to do the next whole section. I'm going to let you guys read about oogenesis and the whole other thing. But let's go through the rest of that. So oogenesis itself, I'm going to erase this real quick. So remember, you have the ovary. The ovary are like this, and inside the middle is called the stroma. That's the body of it, and outside is that germinal layer on the outside. I'm going to do the germinal. It's called germinal epithelium, GE, and this is called the stroma, ST. Okay, that's where the egg is first made, and they're kept from when you're born. You have about 700,000 of them if you're female, of course, and then they're pared down to about, I think, 70,000, and then by the time you use them up, if you never had kids and you had normal periods every 28 days from 13 to whatever 50, that's about 450 eggs are going to be used. So there's 450 possibilities. Now remember, each of those have half of the DNA of the mother, and it's kind of like which half? We don't know. As long as it has half of it, we're good to go, because the male should deliver the other half. We're going to have the oogonium, which which is the same as the spermatogonium, and that's going to give us the primary oocyte. Okay, and then we have the secondary oocyte. Okay, and we have one part of it, the first polar body, that just dies off. Okay, and then the other part of it dies off too. So those die off. Okay, and then you have just this one over here that's left, and that makes the mature egg. Actually, this is the one that's left. Primary oocyte. Sorry about that. The primary oocyte makes the first polar body. That eventually becomes the otid. OTID. Oh, didn't we see it? OTID, and that's what's a mature egg. Okay. Let's see. This one, remember, we start with mitosis and we end up in meiosis on this one, because mitosis is the reproduction of an exact duplicate, but this is a little bit different because we're not going to end up with 4 or 2 or anything like that. We end up with 1 so 1 for 1. Oogonium to 1 otid or otid is going to be 1. And remember, sperm cells is 1 spermatogonia to 4 spermatids. So anyway, there we go. That's that part there. That was about 6 minutes. So I want to make these quick and easy. Make sure you're looking through your book on these things, page 461 of your anatomy book, which we've talked about. Next we get to talk about fallopian tubes.